Back now at 8:19 with a friend of ours here on this show, a woman recovering from a heartbreaking holiday tragedy. Last year on Christmas morning, a house fire claimed the lives of Madonna Badger's 3 young daughters, Lily, Sarah, and Grace, as well as her parents. When I spoke with her 6 months ago, she was in the throes of enormous and unimaginable grief. This morning, Madonna is with us to talk about how she's doing now. Madonna Badger, it's great to see you. It's nice to see you smiling a little bit. How are you doing?
I'm doing really well. I'm shocked that I'm doing okay, but I'm doing really well.
Last time I talked to you, you said when you smiled or when you laughed, you immediately felt guilty.
Yes.
You still feel that way?
No, I don't feel that way. I mostly don't feel that way because when I do feel happy, when I do feel joyful, it's when I can feel the presence of my children and my mom and dad the most.
Yeah, I want to talk to you about that because in talking to our producers and you talking to them over the last couple of days, you said that you feel very strongly that over these last several months, your daughters have been sending you messages. And,
yes.
I want you to be able to explain that.
You know, I've seen my children in my dreams. When I pray, I see my children. Lily came to me very early on and said, "Don't worry, Mommy. I'm right there in your heart, and I love you." And once when I was having, level 10, the worst sort of cries, it feels like blood is coming out of my eyes, Sarah came to me in the mirror, and she said, "Mommy, there's nothing to be afraid of. Everything is going to be okay."
So these messages, these visions, they have helped you go on?
Absolutely. Honestly, I thought I was delusional. I thought I was a little nuts. But then I read Proof of Heaven by Dr. Eben Alexander.
He's actually been on this show.
And who's fantastic. He sat down with me a couple weeks ago and had a cup of coffee.
You've also been through professional help.
Yes.
You've done a lot of therapy before finding the right kind of therapy.
That's right.
You admitted to me you had contemplated suicide.
Absolutely.
Do you have those thoughts anymore?
I don't. I don't have those thoughts anymore, mostly because I don't know what would happen if I did that, and I don't want to risk not being with my children. And so after being in 3 different mental institutions, my friend Kate Askew finally took me to the Psychiatric Research Institute at the University of Arkansas in Little Rock. And Dr. Smith, the director there, was the first person that could really describe my grief and not treat me like I was a schizophrenic.
You talk about your friend connecting you there, and you have had, I think we have to stop and remind people that when most folks go through tragedy, they lean on their family.
Yes.
This tragedy took the lives of your entire immediate family.
Yes.
So you have relied on a network of friends, both here in New York, and by the way, a lot of them are here this morning. I think more than 100 of them are out on our plaza this morning to show their continuing support of you. And in Little Rock, Arkansas, where you've been living, there are some gathered there this morning. Talk to me about what these people have meant to you on a daily basis.
You know, these people have showered me with so much love and given me hope. And I never felt judged. I never felt, I always felt like they were there for me. And through a million cards and texts and emails and dropping into my house. And certainly my friend Kate Askew and Jess Askew that let me come and live in their house for 4 months. When I was gray, half my hair had fallen out. I mean, I was a disaster. And they made me promise I wouldn't kill myself, and they brought me back to life.
On a more serious note, your ex-husband gave an interview recently, and he talked about the fact that he thought your daughters were placed on this earth for a reason, and perhaps taken away for a reason. He also talked about the stages of grief that he has been through, and he said at times he wanted to kill you and your boyfriend at the time of this fire, Michael Borsina, who's the man officials believe placed the ashes there that caused the fire. How did it feel to hear that?
I thought that was perfectly normal. His response, I would have felt the same way. I certainly felt the same way. So I don't judge Matthew's grief. I don't judge the journey that he's on. And in fact, I'm incredibly proud of him for what he's done with the Lily, Sarah, and Grace Fund. And I plan on turning over all of the money that was donated to the other 364 Foundation to the Lily, Sarah, and Grace Fund.
I want to ask you, we're just a couple of weeks away from Christmas. Families around the world will celebrate. How are you going to mark that day? How hard will it be?
Every day is hard. Christmas Day, you know, the first birthdays, Mother's Day, Easter. I mean, every day is hard. I'm going to go to Thailand. It's a Santa Claus free zone, and I'm going to go work in an orphanage there with young girls who've lost their families, little girls, and bring toys from my garage that belong to my children. And so, you know, I'm going to pray and meditate and be with my kids and love them and do the very best I can.
Madonna Badger, it's nice to see you again, and although I know it's still a really difficult time, it's awfully nice to see you smiling a little bit more.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming by.
Thank you so much.